Imagine being a bright-eyed 19-year-old starting your college journey when all of a sudden you realize you found your soulmate. On today's case, Mr. and Mrs. Coleman say they couldn't believe how lucky they were to have found each other in a sea of students. But their marriage has been anything but sunshine and rainbows. Mrs. Coleman says not only has her husband cheated on her repeatedly, but when he gets caught, he blames her for his indiscretions. Mrs. Coleman says she is at the end of her rope, but Mr. Coleman says he can explain. Let's hear their case.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Starr presiding. Your Honor, this is the case of Coleman versus Coleman.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Coleman, you are appearing in court today because you say you are fed up with your husband's infidelities. You also say he's an alcoholic who refuses to help raise your children. You say the marriage is over if you don't see a change.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Coleman, you're here to save your relationship. You admit to a lack of intimacy in your marriage that resulted in you seeking affection from other women. But you say your problems are fixable and you don't have a drinking problem.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm not sure how you fix seeking comfort in the arms of another woman, but let me keep an open mind in this situation. Mrs. Coleman, why are we in court today?
We are here today because I have given this man 7 years of my life, but he has lied to me, cheated on me constantly, and I am over it. I am done. I am ready to get a divorce. I can't do it anymore.
Mrs. Coleman says, you've been together 7 years. I know you've been married for 3 years. You have 2 children. There are lots of stakes here. What say you to these allegations?
I'm here because I want to save my marriage. I love this woman with all my heart, and I think she's still the one for me. I do have my, infidelities and my ways, but I love this woman, and I think we can fix this marriage.
Well, I'm questioning, how in the world do you think it's okay for you to have, quote, infidelities and ways, and she's supposed to be okay with that?
I have changed, and I've showed her that I have changed. And she knows this, so she's coming up here and telling all these lies on me. I don't think that's right.
Well, I'm on here. So let's start with how you all met, and let us figure out what the stakes are and why we're here today. Yes, okay. Ms. Coleman.
Yes, Your Honor. We met 7 years ago at a college in Selma. And when I met him, he seemed like the perfect guy. He was very sweet, very nice, down to earth, just amazing. And I fell in love with him very quickly. But as the years went by, he started his addictions and his ways, the cheating, the infidelity, the addiction.
Okay, so you got married after dating for a couple of years. What went wrong?
I started going through my husband's phone. I started having intuitions, and this was like 4 years ago. I was like, something's up, something going on. I can smell it. I know. So I went through his phone, and I saw that he had been texting a woman. This is the same woman that he was in a relationship with for
I was not in a relationship.
He was in a relationship with this woman for 4 years. And
you know this to be fact?
A fact. He had been contacting this woman through social media. He created a second account and blocked me from the original account.
You think it was used by your husband so that he could hide what he was doing, am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Coleman, what say you to these allegations, sir?
Well, first of all, I didn't use it just to cheat. I actually lost, access to the account one day, and I decided to log back in it months later. I didn't design it to just, I'm gonna cheat on my wife just because she doesn't have this account. Yes, I did block her off that account because I don't know why, but I just felt the need to. Now, her going through my phone is just ridiculous. She goes through my phone at least twice a week.
That's probably because you've given her reason to not trust you. Listen, I don't believe in you have to go through somebody's phones to be sneaky. But that's what young people do. That's what I have learned while I sit here at this bench. But there are reasons for her not to trust you because you have not been faithful, clearly.
Your Honor, I submitted the messages to the court.
Oh, wait, okay.
That's confirmation that he had sexual intercourse with the woman that he was in a relationship with for 4 years.
It says cash or blah, blah, downtown. Either, remember, after that one, you kept saying it was too, I'm assuming, big is the word. It feels so good, though. That's the other woman. Let me check in with my old lady, because she's talking about school, going to get out early, and I gotta get her early, tell her your homeboy needs a ride or something.
Your Honor, I found out later that she was an escort or is an escort. When I read those...
Meaning she gets paid to have sex.
She gets paid to have sex, but not only that, Your Honor, they develop a relationship.
I didn't find out she was an escort till after the fact.
Until after.
Yeah, because you thought you was getting ready to get some
after.
free you learned you had to pay for it.
Yeah.
What in
and
the
he
world?
he paid her a lot of money to have sex with her. And not only that, they was in a relationship for
We was
4
not in a relationship.
years. They were sexting, saying all kind of things that I can't go into detail about.
Okay, you don't have to convince me of another thing, Mr. Coleman. You can call it talking, flirting, doing whatever it is you want to do with it. If you are sexting another woman and you are having intimate relations with her, whichever kind of way you want to describe intimate relations, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you either cash apping her or hitting her off with some fees, that's just stank. I don't know what else to call it. Trifling and stank.
And vile.
Okay?
I'm not saying I'm the perfect man.
No, you're not the perfect man.
I own up to my truth, and I am, you know.
So is that the only time you stepped outside of your marriage?
Yes, that is the only time I've had physical attractions, and I had sex with another woman, only one time, and she can attest to that.
Is that the only time?
That's the only time that I saw.
Yep.
And he promised me that was the only time, so I believe him.
But you do understand, Mr. Coleman, that that will require you to rebuild trust because she doesn't believe you.
And that's what I'm trying to do. But every single time we get in an argument, she bring it up. And she has told me herself that she's forgiven me for this. But yet every time she get mad at me, she goes and, oh, well, you had sex with this lady. I hate you. I don't want to be with you. I wish I was with another man.
Mrs.
Now,
Coleman,
how that's supposed to make me feel?
I do say that, and I take
Mrs. Coleman,
full
I'm gonna stop you for a minute. If in fact you think you can get over it, and you are working on rebuilding trust, you cannot continue to throw it in a man's face.
I'm working on it.
Yep, you can't. Do you know why? Because then that means you're not going to get through it. Notice I didn't say get over it. Because, Mr. Coleman, let me be real clear. She's never going to get over it. She's never going to feel the same way about you as she felt when she was following you around like a little puppy dog because you were like a mentor as well as the love of her life. She's not going to feel that way because she trusted you without hesitation back then. So you've got to work really hard to rebuild that level of trust, that innocence. She may forgive you, but she will never forget how that made her feel. That's just the truth. And if you do anything sneaky, that's what's going to bring it back, because that same hurt will hurt again. Stop sneaking, dipping, and diving. That's the only thing that's going to work, sir.
Your Honor, I feel like he has a sex addiction. It has been several times that I have went through his phone and saw him sexting other women, a particular type of women at that.
What kind of women?
Escorts. Your Honor, I feel like he has a sex addiction. Even though I found out that he had sex with this woman one time and was contacting her for those 4 years, it has been several times that I have went through his phone and saw him sexting other women, a particular type of women at that. So,
what kind of women?
Escorts. He has contacted over 50 women.
It has not been 50.
Your Honor, he has contacted over 50 women, and he even admitted this to me. But he said he only had sex with a woman one time, which is the one that he was contacting for 4 years.
She's not affectionate with me, so that's the only reason why I sexted these women, and it was not no 15, it was not no 50 women. It was
you admitted
Coleman, what are you talking about?
You admitted that it was 50.
Excuse me, Mrs. Coleman, one minute. I would like to hear, Mr. Coleman, it sounds like you're seeking affection outside of your marriage.
That's right, because I don't get it at home. She doesn't, if you go a month and a half without even touching me, what you want me to do?
Is there a reason you're not having regular intimate contact?
No, it's because of her. She choose not to do it. She's even told me she only has sex with me because she need it real bad. Not because she want to have sex with me, just because she need it real bad. And I don't think as a man, I'm supposed to just sit here and just accept that. Like, if you my wife, I at least need it at least 3 times a week. But if I'm going months without having it, I mean, how you want me to feel?
I don't know about what your times a month or times a week are, but I do know no marriage can sustain itself if y'all are not intimate. It just won't work.
It won't.
Your Honor, we have sex at least 3 to 4 times a month. He is lying. We have sex at least 3 to 4 times a month. Now, sometimes it have been 2 times a month, yes, but it have never been more than 4
It's
weeks.
been no times a month at one point.
Your Honor, the reason why I haven't really been giving him sex is because I'm hurt, I'm bitter, I'm mad, I'm upset. I feel like he betrayed me. He cheated on me. He had sex with another woman, and he have contacted over 50 women, so how can I have sex with him? I can't do it. And then you have to realize I have a 1-year-old. I have a 2-year-old. I go through so much. My 2-year-old, he is autistic. I have to do so much in a day. I do a million things a day, so I am tired. And another reason why I don't want to have sex is because of my pregnancies. I had the worst pregnancies. My pregnancies, my birth, postpartum, after I had my baby. It was the worst. It was the worst time of my life. Well, it wasn't the worst time, but it was, I don't want to say that, but.
I completely understand what you mean.
I feel like there wasn't enough support. When I was pregnant and after I had my children, so it's kind of hard for me to have sex with him, especially because if I'm always going through your phone and seeing that you have contacted other women, it's kind of hard to have sex. But I do take full accountability for that. I do. I do need to start having sex with my husband, more than 2 or 3 or 4 times a month. I do. I do take full accountability. I do need to get better with that.
Mrs. Coleman, Mr. Coleman, have you all talked to somebody about this? Have you asked for counseling?
I have told her I will pay for counseling. The only thing she needs to do is set it up. I work 2 jobs. I work 16 hours a day. I pay 95% of the bills. She only provides half of the mortgage. And sometimes I pay the full mortgage. I pay her car note, her insurance, I put gas in her car. So I'm the most supportive person she's ever met.
Take that stank face off. If you have that attitude, what makes you think that this man is going to try to be a better man? He admitted his infidelity. You actually believe him.
But he have contacted women.
If you'd like your case to be heard on divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Missed a show? Watch full episodes on our streaming platforms and follow us on social media for exclusive content.
When I say support, when I was pregnant, around 2 months pregnant, I almost lost my 2-year-old. And he wasn't there for me. He was working double shifts back to back.
Mrs. Coleman, what did you expect him to do? I mean, I want you to have reasonable expectations.
She wasn't working.
No.
Listen to what I'm asking you.
No, ma'am.
Was Mr. Coleman trying to hold down this growing family during that time? Yeah. And was he working those multiple jobs?
Yeah, he was. He was working 2 jobs and working double shifts, yes.
So it wasn't like he was out at the bar or the strip club during that time period?
No, he wasn't.
So, Mrs. Coleman, you have to acknowledge what he was doing during that time. Now, you may have needed some additional emotional support, but you can't say the man was not supportive. That's not fair to him.
Yes, ma'am.
He was supportive. It may not have been exactly what you needed at the time, but he was supporting the way he knew to support. Mr. Coleman, let me be real clear. She's continuing to punish you. And she is going to continue to punish you until she feels that you've suffered enough. And that is not going to be healthy for you. I can tell you that right now.
Well,
but you're punishing him.
I am.
So, Mrs. Coleman, then why are you with him?
I take full accountability. I'm punishing him.
No, you're not taking full accountability. You're acknowledging it.
Yes, ma'am.
But accountability would then start moving in a direction to try to fix it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? You're acknowledging it.
Yes, ma'am.
Acknowledging it is saying, this is on me. But accountability is, how can I make it better? So, Mrs. Coleman, you said that you are done at the end of your rope with Mr. Coleman because you think he's cheating on you.
Yes,
but you've
ma'am.
acknowledged in this courtroom, you only think he actually slept with another woman or stepped out of your marriage physically one time. You actually believe that.
I believe it because...
She hates me. She already told me she hate me. Multiple times.
I believe it because I know he have contacted over 50 women. I kind of think that it's been more than one time that he physically stepped out.
It is not.
And he has a lot of addictions. I feel like he has an alcohol addiction.
I do not have alcohol addiction.
He does.
You know what? At first, I was ready to come in here and suggest that I can send you to addiction specialist. He doesn't have an addiction. He is looking for affection, Mrs. Coleman. If you all are not interested in fixing your relationship,
I am.
the marriage is over. So I'm gonna tell you right now, take that stank face off. You have the worst little attitude.
I do.
Okay?
I do.
If you have that attitude, what makes you think that this man is going to try to be a better man? The man says he admitted his infidelity.
Yeah.
He says he did not go outside of his marriage again. He promised you that. You actually believe him.
But he have contacted women.
Yes,
even a month ago, yeah.
Just not having sex.
And
True.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that that's a violation of the marriage also.
Yeah.
But I understand exactly why. Mr. Coleman is not interested in a marriage where there is no love. And you can't treat him like he's a piece of you-know-what for the rest of the marriage. It's not gonna work, Ms. Coleman. Do you want your marriage or not? Now, I understand if you say I can't get over it and I'm ready to throw in the towel, but don't put all the blame on him because he breached the trust, but you are breaching the relationship. You're not doing anything to work on the relationship at all. As a matter of fact, you're doing everything to destroy it. If you have 2 little children, don't you think it's worth sitting down with a marriage counselor, finding out if you can rediscover each other's love language? Don't you think it's worth seeing if you can rebuild that trust? Do you have a willingness to work on the relationship?
I think about it, but I don't know. I don't know because I've been through too much.
You know, Mrs. Coleman, you're not doing it for me. Because honestly, when you walk out of this courtroom and I bang this gavel, you can go on about your life. You only doing this for you and your children and your husband. You're not doing this for me. So don't, with your attitude, say to me, I'll think about it, because it's not for me. Baby, it's for you. And you are standing there in a whole column of resentment right now. And I can tell you for certain, all this resentment is not going to keep your husband. Not only you can determine if you want him. And Mr. Coleman, listen to her, because I have news for you. You don't have to pay for a mistake that you are consciously trying to get through the rest of your life. You deserve to have somebody who loves you and trusts you if you're gonna work hard at rebuilding that trust. And so at some point, you have to say, I deserve to be happy also. At some point, you will say that. It's not all on him, Mrs. Coleman. It's not. You have to start to put on your big girl shoes and say people make mistakes. I don't know what your vow said, but mine said, in sickness and in health, in good times and in bad. This was a bad time.
Yes, ma'am. Your Honors, I have divorce papers also. And I have also, within the past year and a half, I have almost filed for divorce 3 times. But he didn't want to pay the money to get the divorce, so that's why we didn't go through with it.
Why should I have to pay for that?
And plus, I love him, so that's why I
How she love me when she constantly disrespecting me? Like,
I
honestly,
do.
If I come in the house
I do.
and tell her I'm gonna bathe the kids, and she still, like, I mean, what you want me to do?
Mr. Coleman, this is what I want you to do. Determine if this is the marriage you want. If it's not fulfilling for you, sir, tell your wife that you want to co-parent, but you're going to go and get your happy. Mrs. Coleman, if you can't get through what occurred in the past and you're gonna live there, you will have no future. There are just some people that are not going to listen no matter what you say.
Listen, there were 2 things that were for certain. He cheated, and she's not budging with her decision.
Absolutely not. And guess what? TikTok. What else? Good.
Made in Georgia.